Colbert a question, and I'd like to remind you that a lot of people are going to want to ask questions, so please ask questions and not statements. And introduce yourself.
And I already believe that Lyndon LaRouche has a point, so you don't need to talk about that. I've read the literature. I know all about the hegemonic cabal that's controlling our government.
Tell us who you are, what school you're with, or if you're with the community, and remember, as Graham Allison always says, end your questions with a question mark. So we'll start over here with Mr. Josh Downer.
Mr. Colbert, I'm Josh Downer. I am a sophomore. I go to Harvard. And your character is very funny. He's very self-important. You make no claims for personal respectability. I'm curious where you draw the line between the arrogance of your character and your arrogance, and do you make claims to humility? And secondly, who do you think is the most self-important politician?
I try not to draw a line between my character's arrogance and mine, because mine just informs my character. It is really great because you can behave in really unforgivably monomaniacal ways, and then you say, it's just my character. But I have a wife and 3 children, so that keeps you humble when you get home. And, there's poop to be cleaned up. And the most self-important politician, at this point, I guess I'd say Steny Hoyer. I did not know he didn't like my performance. Because I didn't mention him.
Thank you. We'll go up to David Escamilla.
You know these guys by name. You just know their name. You just go like, I know that guy.
Yes. No, some of them.
How many students at Harvard?
6,400 undergraduate.
Mm-hmm. And in the Kennedy School of Government? 900? Okay, you can learn those names. It's not that impressive.
I'm David Escamilla. I'm a student at the college. And I'm curious as to what your relationship with Jon Stewart is, if it's changed recently because you've done your own thing now. Is there a strain? Is there more tension?
No. We talk way more now than when we work together. Seriously, I talk with him every day this week so far because I understand, I understand how hard his job is, having to executive produce and essentially ultimately be the final writing voice on all the material that gets said, and it has to be channeled through you, or in John's case, you have to say it, or you're going to be the traffic cop of the information. And I've called him because I'm happy to say, I'm his peer now, and I need someone's advice. So I call him fairly frequently. And I also sometimes apologize and say, I'm sorry I complained that you cut that material. I understand that you got to cut stuff left and right. There's just too much to be done in a half hour. And he's a very thoughtful, very kind guy who only wants my show to succeed, and not only because he gets a cut.
Go up here.
Hi, I'm Michael Sturgis. I'm a freshman at the college, and I was wondering how much your character's obsessions, such as bears, honeydew melons, and Dungeons and Dragons, stem from your own life.
What was the middle one between bears and Dungeons and Dragons?
Honeydew melons.
Right. Honeydew melons. Well, bears, I actually am afraid of bears, but not like on a conscious level. I'm afraid of them on like an archetypal Jungian level. I don't know what they represent, but in my dreams, when things aren't going well in my life, I'm usually between me and my goal, there's a bear. And a physical bear, big brown, like Kodiak, dancing bear. He like looks all friendly and dancy, and I know if I get close, he's just going to rip my head off with those claws. And everyone's saying, what's wrong? It's just a dancing bear. Go by the bear. And I know he's going to kill me. But as a child, I saw some movie, I can't remember what it was, and the main character gets mauled by a bear. They're like on a wagon train heading west, and he gets mauled by a bear, and they leave him for dead, and they actually bury him. And he's hideously scarred. And head-turning scars for the rest of his life. And he's not dead. He digs himself up out of the shallow grave, and then for some reason, he's angry at them for not having brought them along. He kills everybody in the wagon train. It was a good movie for an 8-year-old to watch. And one of 11 kids, they kind of left me alone. And I went to my dad, who was a doctor, and I said, Dad, we lived on a sea island in South Carolina. There are no bears there. And I was afraid of going to the woods. I'm kind of afraid of bears. You know, like, what would happen if I got mauled by a bear? And instead of saying there are no bears on the coast of South Carolina, he said, oh, modern medicine would sew you right up. You'd be fine. and so I was sure that any minute I'd be walking through the woods. Honeydew melons, they're delicious. And they're clearly the king of melons. And Dungeons and Dragons is really me. My character doesn't talk about it that much. That's sort of, I do more of that in interview. And that was, I spent 6 years of my adolescence playing Dungeons and Dragons. And so those are all real. Those are all real combinations between my character. I try to keep the Lord of the Rings references out of my character's mouth because I truly love the writing of Tolkien, and I don't want to debase it by having my character like it.
Can I ask a follow-up?
What?
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Can you ask a follow-up?
Just very short.
Be strong. Be strong.
We're going to move on. Okay. Sorry, thank you.
Wow.
Will you sign my Dungeon Master's Guide?
Sure. Who signed mine? Yes. Gary Gygax signed mine. Hi. Nerd talk.
My name is Nick Kukreek. I'm a student at the Kennedy School. I'm in my second year in Master in Public Policy. And first, I'd like to thank you for coming to the school.
It's my pleasure. Thanks, Sean.
And I'm not sure if this question will work if you're not in character, but I'll leave that up to you as to whether you want to answer it in that way. But as you may know, one of the greatest alums of this school was the Papa Bear himself, Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, I know that.
And despite his great achievements in journalism, he's yet to be recognized by this school.
Where's the O'Reilly wing?
Right. For instance. And I'm wondering what you think we as Kennedy School students should do to address this grave injustice that's been...
I'll get back to your question in just a minute.
Okay.
I promise.
Sure. Do you want to go to the next question?
Let's go to the next question. I promise I'll get back. Oh, here we go. Here. If you promise me you'll hang it up, I'll leave it. I'll even sign it. But if you're just going to put it, I don't know, some back room, it's coming with me. Let's leave that right there. No, let's put that. Certainly one of the pictures of JFK could come down. Didn't know I had props, did you?
Is that it for the O'Reilly
Do these guys
question?
get to ask questions back here?
They're certainly welcome to. Would you like
It's
to?
hard for them to get up because they're trapped back here. Shouldn't
But
we
they
give
get to
them
be
an
so
own
close to you.
microphone
It's like a
back there?
different benefit. I don't know. Do you want to? We're going on.
Hi, Mr. Colbert. My name is Brian Gillis. I'm a sophomore at the college, and I was just wondering, the media has an incalculable effect on shaping policy as well as producing results in elections. How much do you think you and Jon Stewart are both responsible for some of the impact in the way the country has changed in 2006?
I don't really have any idea. I got to say, my intention is not to affect anyone's voting. Again, I'm telling jokes, and there's one of the guys who works over the Daily Show once said to me, like, you keep on saying that you don't have any influence on people, and I go, I don't have any influence, and he goes, you don't intend any influence. He said, if people say that you influence them, you do influence them, and that's not your call to make. So I can't speak. Other people could say, but I really don't know for two reasons. One is, this sounds callous, but I really don't care. It's not my goal. I want to stay funny, and I want to keep moving ahead of what I perceive where the ball is in the straight culture, and move ahead. Stay in the funny culture ahead of it. And the other thing is, I live in a bubble, and I go to the show and I go home, and I actually don't see people like this that often. I'd love to. I just, I got a family. But thank you.